Most High Christ blessed family. Back with another video on the Genesis 49ers page. Today's topic is going to be Colossians, the 3rd chapter and the 11th verse. And we're going to hone in and specify the Barbers and the Scythians. Because this scripture is brought out in Christianity a lot of times and it loses its context. What do I mean by that? The scriptures specifically talk about the Barbarians and the Scythians. These were a particular group of people. I know a lot of times you hear the word barbarian and you think of someone that is uncivilized, or you go with that derogatory terminology, when really you had a people called the Berbers or the Barbers, or what we would call the Barbarus in the Latin, which we're going to get into later on in the lesson. And we're going to find out that these people have Israelite origins. This is why Paul was going in depth at Colossians, in the book of Colossians, to tell them about the Barbarians and the Scythians. They're all one. They're not different. They're all Israelites. From there, let's let the presentation commence. First slide. It says Saka. The source reads, "We have seen the Chaldee or Hebrew written language traced to North India. Saxon and Sakai. Herodotus declares that they were two names of the same people. From this, I think there can be scarcely any doubt that the Celtae, the Scythians, and the Saxons were all tribes of the same people." Source: Godfrey Higgins, Anacalypses, Volume 2, page 166 and 273. And on the right, you have the stone relief at Persepolis, and you can see the Sakai. They're wearing the pointed hats, the same type of hats you've seen King Jehu have on, the Israelite captives during the Assyrian raid of the northern kingdom, the same type of attire. So that correlates as well with the history. Next slide. It reads Qumri. The above names known as Sakai by the Aryans and Qumri by the Shemitic tribes. Source: the British Israelites or Evidence of Our Hebrew Origin, page 5. Omri was the father of Ahab. The Assyrians pronounced his name Qumri and called the nation Beth Qumri, or the house of Qumri. Source: Anglo-Israel, the Jewish Problem by Thomas Rosling Hallett, page 47. And on the right you have the Kirk Stele, where you can find where Omri name is pronounced Qumri in the Assyrian tongue. And these people were being called Qumri. The Sakai were being called Qumri after the king Omri of Israel. All right, the Saxons. It says the Saka who settled in Armenia were named Sakasuni. Source: Pliny, Lib. Chapter 6, sentence 2, or paragraph 2. Sakasuni correlates with Saxon, which means son of Isaac. Sak equals Isaac, and Sunni equals sons of. See the Sanskrit and the Saxon for the grammatics on that. Let's keep going. Nomads. The Scythians, also called Scyth, Saka, and Sakai, member of a nomadic people originally of Iranian stock, known from as early as the 9th century BCE, who migrated westward from Central Asia to southern Russia and Ukraine in the 8th and 7th centuries BCE. Source: Britannica.com. The 8th century is when the Israelites, the Assyrians when the Assyrians sacked the northern kingdom of Israel. So it should read, the 8th century is when the Assyrians sacked the northern kingdom of Israel. And that's when you see this tribe known as the Scythians or the Sakai being brought out, being exposed to the world. This is when they first come about in antiquity. So it correlates with the time when we were being attacked by the Assyrians. And that goes with the scripture Hosea 9 verse 17, as you see to the right of your screen. It says, my God will cast them away because they did not hearken unto him. And they shall be wanderers among the nations. Wanderers is another way of saying nomadic. And that's what the Sakai, the Scythians were. They were very nomadic. It was in Russia, Ukraine, and Central Asia. And we're going to read more sources about the Israelites in Russia. It reads, Russia. She notes that the Tsar's officials frequently listed the Negroes as Arabs and Jews. Africans in Russia by Leah Gold and Hunger. The Negro strand brought into Russia by the Jews. Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers, page 122. And on the right of the screen, you can see the Russian icon of the three holy hierarchs, Saint Basil and Great Saint Gregory and the Theologian, and Saint John Chrysostom, circa 1830. It says the Saka. These are the descendants of the Saka, or the sons of Isaac, that went to Russia. So let's continue on. Isaac, the book of Amos, chapter 7, verse 16. Now therefore hear thou the word of the Lord. Thou sayest, prophesy not against Israel, and drop not thy word against the house of Isaac. So us going by the name Isaac, or the endonym Isaac, is not something new per se. It's written in the book of Amos, so we did go by this endonym or name or appellative at those times. And we carried that name when we migrated as the Scythians or the Sakai. Now let's move on to the Berbers, the history about the Berbers. We know Colossians 3:11 states and articulates about the barbarians. Nowadays we call them Berbers, Barbarous. They're all the same thing. A history by a Roman council in Africa made the first reference of the term barbarian to describe Numidia. Now, Numidia is where present-day Algiers and Tunisia is today in North Africa. This is what the word barbarian or Berber was referring to. And the sources list Barbares et Moi by Magdalene Wasuuri Ura, page 224. And Numidia in that North African region has always had a history of Israelite and Hebraic contact. The Carthaginians, Hannibal from the tribe of Asher, and Israelite. It always, the Tripoli, breading Septimius Severus, which his native tongue was Punic. He was a Hebrew. So North Africa is rich in Hebraic history. Moving on. Africa again, it says Zephaniah 3:10, from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughter of my dispersed shall bring my offering. So we were dispersed beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. Ethiopia is in the east of Africa. We were pushed, to the western and the northern regions of Africa. And it's recorded in the scriptures in the book of Zephaniah. The book of Psalms, chapter 87. A psalm, a song of the sons of Korah. His foundation is in the holy mountains. The Lord loveth the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. Why is this saying in this verse 2? Because we had many dwellings throughout antiquity. As I read earlier, the Sakai were in Russia. Some of our people were in North Africa, Tyre. Some of our people were in Carthage, Tripoli. Some of our people were in Spain. We were very nomadic people and composed of many nomadic tribes. Let's read on, verse 3. Glorious things are spoken of thee, O city of God, Selah. I will make mention of Rahab and Babylon to them that know me. Behold, Philistine and Tyre with Ethiopia. This man was born there. What man? The man of Zion, the Israelite. He was born in these lands. Ethiopia, that's in Africa. And at one point in time, Ethiopia was considered all of Africa. You had lower and upper Ethiopia. Tyre, Philistia, other Hamitic tribes were born within their lands. And of Zion it shall be said, this and that man was born in her, and the highest himself shall establish her. The Lord shall count when he writeth up the people that this man was born there, Selah. So these are talking about the Israelites being dispersed and scattered and being a nomadic people. As well the singers as the players on the instruments shall be there. All my springs are in thee. All right, so Carthage again. It reads, from Tyre to Carthage, Israel and its father is well known. That quote from Rabbi Isaac. He's speaking about the Israelites during the time of Septimius Severus around the 2nd and 3rd century A.D. Um, this quote is pretty clear that we were from Tyre to Carthage. We're all over North Africa, right? So let's keep going. Which explains the Berbers, the barbarians. This is why in Colossians, Paul brings up the barbarians and Scythians. He's letting you know they're all the same people. Now, a Christian will read that scripture and they'll get from that all people can be saved, but that's not what it's talking about. It's specifically honing in on the barbarians, the Scythians, for a reason, because they have history. They are the people of the book. They are the Hebrews of antiquity. And Paul understood that. He was a very astute man. Berber King Kosiela and Queen Kahina, both notable Berber Jews of the Maghrib, of the Dahara tribe, the Jarara tribe. Kairoian was a haven for Jewish and Coptic communities alike. So they create the capital, Kairoian, which became a city that attracted a lot of Jewish migrants because it provided the safety that they needed under Queen Kahina and the King Kosiela. The source is the North African Jews by Sarah Taib Karlin. Final slide, the scripture, which the topic is based off of, Colossians 3, verse 10 to 11. And have put on a new man, which is renewed in the knowledge after the image of him that created him. Now, Christianity always tries to separate, and when I say Christianity, I'm talking about secular Christianity, what is popularized as Christianity. They always try to separate image and identity from our religion and our customs. Image and identity runs parallel with our customs. It's written right here, after the image of him that created him. You have to know how the creator looks. How does the creator look? Plenty of scriptures illustrated. Daniel 10 and 6, Daniel 7 and 9, right? Revelations 1:14, because we know Christ is the express image of the Father. So if Christ is black, guess what? The Father is black. Okay? So we have to have knowledge after the image of him that created him. Verse 11. Well, there is neither Greek nor Jew, and it's bringing that up because the Greeks are the Hellenized Jews. And when it says nor Jew, it's talking about the Jews that were born and raised in the Mosaic customs, that did not make Greek their tongue and they didn't follow the manner of the Greeks. Circumcision nor uncircumcision. Circumcision, again, is talking about the Jews raised up in the Mosaic customs. The uncircumcision is talking about those Israelites that were not raised in the Mosaic customs. It says barbarian, which we covered today, the North African Jews, North African Jewry, the Barbers are the barbarians, the Scythians, which we also covered, which were called Sakai, or Sakai Sunni, which is the sons of Isaac, bond nor free, but Christ is all and in all. Why? Because these are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. And this is why Paul was put on his mission to go get those scattered Israelites. In the book of Acts, I believe it's the 24th chapter, it tells you that he went for our 12 tribes. That was his whole mission, was based on the promise made to our fathers, our 12 tribes. So that's who he went out to go get. With that, I'm going to conclude the lesson. I pray that you get brothers and sisters that are watching this video, learned a lot, and able to retain this information and spread this gospel to the four corners, that we may wake up the 12 tribes of Israel. With that, I say shalom, family. Most High Christ bless.